Scenic Barber Motorsports Park, situated just outside of Birmingham, Alabama. It's a picturesque 2.3-mile, 17-turn roller coaster ride. Dreamed up by local businessman and motorsport enthusiast George Barber, it opened in 2003. The track has emerged as one of the most beautiful and challenging racetracks in North America. And this weekend, it plays host to a triple header of action for Pirelli GT4 America as the championship enters its penultimate weekend. Hello and welcome to a hot and humid Barber Motorsports Park here in Alabama. Already temperatures over 91 degrees Fahrenheit. Track temps up to 102 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a scorcher, that's for sure, as we get ready to go for the first of 3 races. Mother Nature very much a storyline, Calvin Fish, because this is effectively the makeup race for a rainout at Road America the last time out. So this is a grid that was set by qualifying at a completely different racetrack, which definitely throws an interesting loop into the festivities here this weekend.
Yeah, it really does. In case in point, both Riley Dickinson, who starts this race from the pole, and Mike David Ortman, they won their classes at Road America, so they were really quick there. Hence, they have a really strong qualifying position for this race here at Barber. But as you said, totally different racetrack, different demands on the race car. So a jumbled up grid, it should make it for an exciting race here this afternoon.
Exactly right. Looking forward to seeing how that shakes out in today's race. Well, that was Calvin Fish. I'm Ryan Marine. Amanda Busick is down on the pit lane for us. Welcome back, Amanda. Great to have you with us once again. And what are you learning down there on the grid today?
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I'm learning there's a ton of intensity around this race, considering we got 3 of these this weekend with a total of 75 points on the line, and you can see it in the shoulders and in the eyes of these drivers. I also positioned myself for what could be behind me, but let's hope that those rain showers stay in the distance. But when you talk about the intensity, we're getting into point situations right now. You take a look at the battles in all 3 of our categories. But one car that's looking to gain some momentum here this weekend is the 7 starting on pole, and Kurt Swearinger. The pressure of this weekend, do drivers feel it?
Maybe a little bit, but we're excited. We've got 2 cars starting near the front here, 1st and 3rd, so it's great for the ACI to have that. And, you know, coming out of Road America and not getting that race done there, we really wanted to get it done there. But 3 here at Barber is not a bad thing.
Now, I know the guys in the booth are going to break down what's going to happen in pit stops, but I was just talking to you a little bit. Drivers are going to have the option to change a tire during the pit stops, but you said you guys might not take that option.
We never know. I just wait for the engineers to tell me what to do, and I just drive the car.
Well, Calvin, I know we were talking about it earlier, so I'll let you talk about that on the nuts and bolts. But in talking to teams down here in terms of the BMWs, those teams seem consistent on wanting that tire and say, absolutely, it'll be that left front.
Yeah, I mean, it's a brand new tire that Pirelli debuted at Road America. The teams are still learning it. So I think it's really a wise decision by the series to allow on a very high demand, high energy racetrack here at Barber to allow the teams the option. Kurt just said we may not use it, but other teams may. So I think certainly it will mean that if you've got a corner of the race car that you're heavily loading, Ryan, it may kind of take the punishment in that one corner. It will allow the starting driver to kind of use that tire up a little bit more than having to manage it and give the second driver a fresh Pirelli slick to go on there for the second phase of this race.
It is a change, that's for sure, and that change was handed down coming into this weekend with this surface and with the heat in mind, and the fact that these teams are still coming to grips with this new Pirelli tire that only debuted the last time out. One other change, though, is the pit stops will be a little bit longer as a consequence of this rule change.
Yeah, they've added essentially 6 seconds to what we typically run here at Barber for the minimum stop time. So that should give the teams, there's plenty of room there to get a single tire change done, because essentially you're sitting still for about 30 seconds anyway. So they're just adding to that buffer, and it should not be any drama for any of the teams to get that one tire change done.
It'll be a story to keep an eye on, though, throughout this 60-minute race. So, too, are the championship battles. We heard Amanda allude to that a little bit ago. This car right here has firm control of the Silver Class Championship coming into the final 5 races of the season. But you look at the other 2 classes, Pro-Am and Am, it's super close with as many as 3, 4, maybe even 5 teams that can feel like they still have a shot at this championship in the final 5 races of the season.
Very much. I mean, Kenton Cook and Kevin Boom look like they got one hand on the trophy, but there's still a lot of rounds left, obviously, with a triple header here this weekend and the double header at Indy. So they've got a 40-point lead. That's significant. I say by tomorrow we could start talking about championship clinch potentially, but in the other two classes, very different story. The 82 car leads by 4 points in the Pro-Am driver standings. In the 36 has a mere 3-point lead there. So lots on the table. This is really moving weekend, I would say, in the championship.
It is. It's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. And again, with 3 races this weekend, this racetrack and this set of 3 races get that much more significance going into this stretch run in the title. Well, engines are fired, cars are starting to roll. Let's head back down one more time to the grid at Amanda Busick.
It's a unique situation for Jonathan Neudorf today, as he has 3 races that he will race in, and he knocked off 1 win already, taking that win in TC. So I talked to you off camera and I said, can you make it 6 wins this weekend? Well, you finished with 1. Anticipation on your race today, Jonathan?
Yeah, I mean, we're starting from a good spot, starting 5th, second in class. So, you know, it's a tough track to pass on, so track position is really valuable here. You know, anything can happen. There's bound to be a caution or 2. It's just such a tight track. It's hard to race on. So hopefully we can make the best of it and try and move to the front. Yeah, 6 wins would be really awesome. I was talking to the team. If I could get a picture in front of the car with 6 trophies, it would be pretty cool. But I don't want to get ahead of myself either. You know, I'm just going to take it 1 race at a time and just see what we can do.
You took the first one already today. Good luck.
Thank you.
That car lines up 5th overall today, 2nd in the silver class, started by Jesse Webb. But as we heard Amanda allude to, was the fact he's already raced once today in TC America, got the win there. He's got another race immediately following this one, so it's a pair of triple headers for Jonathan Neudorf across 2 different series here at Barber. These are your class pole sitters in the silver class. It's the sister car from JMF with Mike David Ortman starting on pole. He'll start 2nd overall. Riley Dickinson took the overall pole position back at Road America, which carries over here to Barber. He'll start the car that he shares with Kurt Swearingen, who we heard from a moment ago. And then in the M class, it's the points leaders, James Clay and Charlie Postins, but their lead has narrowed in recent weeks, so they're going to have their work cut out for them to try and claim another title. Here's the starting grid. It's Dickinson from pole, as mentioned, ahead of the German driver Mike David Ortman, Porsche and Aston sharing the front row. Then it's the Dutchman Luke Hartog and Mark Miller, the veteran from Holland, Michigan, who'll line up in 4th. Jesse Webb and Luca Mars sharing row 3 on the grid, and a couple of Astons, 1 from JMF and 1 from Vanderster. Alex Ellis made his series debut here a year ago. He'll start in the 7th spot next to Gresham Wagner, who's in the midst of a title challenge in the silver class. Man he's chasing is Kevin Boehm. He'll start 9th with Nikolai Elganian for company back in row number 5. To the 6th row, where you'll find Matt Millian and Hannah Greenmeyer for Autotechnic and Heart of Racing. Row 7, it's Sam Craven and James Walker Jr., a couple of BMW sharing row 7. The 8th row belongs to James Clay, pole sitter in the M class and the championship leader. You'll have Judson Holt for company in the 8th row. Row 9, Laura Hayes, Thunder Bunny Racing, just their 2nd weekend with the BMW. Anthony Gerasi, who's 2nd in the M class points, will start to her flank. In the 10th row, it's Michael Oriema and Tony Gaples in the Porsche and the McLaren. Row 11 belongs to Paul Sparta and Alex Vogel in a BMW and a McLaren. And not sure about the 07 car. Michael Garcia was set to start out back. That car was not on the pre-grid, and we await word on its fate, whether or not it will be taking part in today's race. So that's the starting lineup. So much at stake, and what a great venue for it here as the championship winds down. This racetrack is super challenging. It might not have the history of a Road America or a VIR, but in a short amount of time, this place has become revered.
It really has. It's such a beautiful facility. It's world class. I mean, it's compared to Augusta National in terms of the golf kind of equivalent, top of the tree. But I really feel that it's a track that's super technical. Your line around this place is so important because a lot of times you're finishing off corners, cresting a hill. If you got the attitude and the angle of the car incorrect coming through some of these corners, like right here in turn 13, it can really send you off the track and for a ride. So as the teams have already said, it's difficult to pass here. So there's going to be a lot of elbows out, and we do have cars that are out of position based on that qualifying position being based on Road America pace.
Another car that's likely out of position is the one you saw right at the back of this train, Vanderster Racing and Luca Mars. That car had trouble getting going from the grid. It's dropped to the back of the pack and will start from the back of the pack. They had been scheduled to line up in 6th. Here comes the field now onto the front straightaway, looking for the green flag and looking for the start of the race. Tom Hansing has the green flag in hand, and we're underway as Riley Dickinson accelerates away from pole, sweeps to the outside to get a better entry into turn 1, and right there following him is his ACI Motorsports teammate, Luke Hartog. Porsche's run 1-2 with the Aston of Mike David Ortman shuffled back into the 3rd spot.
Yeah, Ortman there immediately getting kind of racy, almost got into the back of Hartog, and Miller had to check up as well as they went through turn 2.
Here he comes, Ortman looking to the outside, silver class leader, trying to plot a course around the 2nd place car overall and in Pro-Am with a very interested spectator in Mark Miller just behind. Look at all the different lines available though down in turn 5. That's Charlotte's Web.
Ortman there got to the flank of Hartog. He's going to try and stick into the brake zone into turn 8 here. That was an amazing move. I think he's a bit miffed about the start he got there. He just mistimed and allowed the 2 teammates to take off into turn 1, but he's up on the wheel early. That Aston Martin looks like it's flying here today.
Well, we know how he operates in traffic, don't we? Like David Ortman tailgating the leader, Riley Dickinson, at the front of this field. He's got the 2nd place overall, but leads in silver. So 2 class leaders, 1st and 2nd in the overall order. 2nd place in silver, Gresham Wagner all the way down in 5th.
Let's think about JMF. They won Pirelli GT4 and GT World Challenge America races at Road America. Followed that up with the win this morning for Newdorf, who spoke to Amanda, obviously. So they could be going for 4 wins on the bounce here in competition across the 2 weekends.
Whoa, Mark Miller a little bit wide at the exit of the final corner up onto the front straightaway. That cost him some momentum. Here comes Gresham Wagner looking down the inside in the Toyota Supra. Gets alongside but can't complete the pass. Miller able to hang on by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah, Miller really hanging on right now. Wagner wants that position. Right now he's got 2 cars between him and Kevin Bohm, the championship leader in that class, so he'd love to spread that a little bit and gain some points here today.
Race starting to settle in after a frantic start. Bohm right now under attack. It's Alex Ellis. And actually it might be Bohm trying to get around Ellis. I apologize. They're still side by side. That's the BMW and Porsche back of the shot as Kevin tries to grab a spot away from the Canadian.
Yeah, you can run that cushion around turn 5, a little wider radius, but the problem is with the amount of marbles that collect there through the race, that position change might get more difficult later in the going here.
Ellis, if you recall, was really, really fast here a year ago with this same team that was stepping into the championship for the first time. It was the first pro race in about a decade for Alex, and he seized it with both hands, running at the front and turning some fast laps. And that team has been quick at times this year as well, looking to cap off the season in a strong manner.
It's a good little battle here, battle for 1st in the AM division.
And these are some of the championship protagonists in AM as well. Points leaders currently running 2nd. That's James Clay. Judson Holt just in front. And then Laura Hayes with Thunder Bunny Racing sits in the 3rd spot. All 3 of those crews feel like they're in the mix for the title. Side by side up ahead. Whoa, that was a close call there. Good save, bringing that car back on track. I believe that was Sam Craven. Yes, it was. Just outside the top 10.
Yeah, really nice save there. They're in the thick of this championship battle as well.
Now under pressure from Hannah Griedmeier in the silver class entry. That's the Aston looking up the inside. It's tight between the 2 of them down into Charlotte's Web.
Yeah, Craven there getting pretty defensive on the run down into turn 5. The Aston Martin had to really roll up there not to have any contact.
Squeezes Hannah Griedmeier just a little bit as they cross under the pedestrian walkover bridge. That's where Georgina is taking in the festivities as is customary here. The mannequin that has made appearances from time to time in some of the races that have taken place. Just part of the rather eccentric decorating choices that have been made around this racetrack. It's beautiful, but it is certainly one of a kind.
Yeah, you just got to keep your eyes about you because there's always something to see, from the pavement that has some little embedded insignias in it to the crazy things that you see around the racetrack, as you mentioned, Ryan.
Good little battle, though, here. This is, again, just outside of the top 10 overall, but top 3 in the M class, running nose to tail with Anthony Girazzi lurking in the background, too. That's another team that feels like they're in the championship hunt in M, and they're all right there nose to tail.
Yeah, big time. They're only 3 points back, so this is a fascinating battle. Laura Hayes is showing great pace here in this Thunder Bunny Racing. BMW made that switch from the Toyota Supra a couple of rounds ago. She looks like she's got the pace of James Clay immediately in front of her.
Still feel like, as a team, they're coming to grips with the BMW after starting the season with the Supra. And here comes Laura now, looking to the outside of a multi-time champion in this class. James Clay able to fend off the challenge for the moment. Watch Laura trying to cross back over and get around that second-place BMW.
Yeah, it just looks like she's able to carve the corners a little bit more efficiently than James, who's kind of got that rhythm, but floating the car around the racetrack, she's able to just get that BMW dig in and change direction a little bit better.
Laura cut her teeth as part of the faculty at the BMW Driving Academy, so fitting to be back with the BMW. In fact, a lot of this Thunder Bunny team, the genesis of it were people on the staff at that BMW driving school that elected to go road racing, and they've been at it for quite a while at the amateur club level, but took the step into Pirelli GT4 America this year, and they have been front runners in the M class all season long.
She's looking really racy right here, just trying to figure out a solution to this puzzle. She looks to the inside, dives down to the apex. James isn't the easiest driver to pass. He hangs on there around the outside.
Pretty tough place to get it done as well. Has to settle back in. That's allowed Judson Holt to disappear a little bit, scampering away in the yellow BMW at the front of this train. Riley Dickinson continues to lead overall, ahead of Mike David Ortman, Hartog, Miller, and Wagner, the top 5, but this is really good stuff here from the front runners in AM. That was a little bit of a miscue from Clay. That could open the door up here. Here comes Hayes with the red nose on that BMW, looking to the outside, 15th and 16th overall, but this is 2nd and 3rd in class.
Yeah, I think James Clay's doing a really good job of defending there into turn 5. Kind of takes the middle of the road, but he doesn't dive in with that. He just kind of really woos it down, slows the car down so he can still get a really good clean exit. Then he's not vulnerable into this next brake zone.
Mentioned at the top, Calvin, cars that were maybe out of position because the qualifying is based on a completely different racetrack, with this being a makeup race. I'd say the car at the back of this train, Tony Gaples in the McLaren, would fall into that category. They really weren't happy with the performance they were able to find at Road America. But here at Barber, you would think this would be a racetrack where this McLaren might shine.
Yeah, absolutely. They're very much in the championship fight as well, sitting just 12 points back in 3rd in that Pro-Am Drivers' Championship.
Gaples took a peek to the inside of Girazzi there.
Tony's a great racer. He's got his qualifying speed up from where he was maybe half a dozen years ago, but even so, he still always goes forward in the race.
Hayes has the position on the 53, trying to fight back. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong battle, aren't I? That's Craven and Million, apologies. So Sam Craven, Matt Million swapping places. Now, the 53 car, Matt Million, they're on kind of the alternate strategy, aren't they? They're starting the Pro in their Pro-Am car, where most of the field starts their less experienced drivers. So this is a big stint for Matt to try and come up through the field and set Tyler Stone up for a strong finish.
Yeah, it's Tyler's home track, of course, so he's licking his lips here with the thought of a triple header this weekend. Loves this circuit, really impressed with his teammate and just the mentorship that he's provided over the course of the last few races here. They're really going forwards with their racing program. Really like Matt Million, really impressive young man.
Certainly so. And has a great life mentor in Tyler Stone. They've been working together for a couple of years now and seem to be going from strength to strength. Back to this battle, though, in M, with Judson Holt still holding the lead, but the rest of that freight train is starting to reel him in slowly but surely.
Yeah, different energy now from James Clay, who's very much in defense there. Now he's looking on the attack, but Laura Hayes just really handling well right now.
50 minutes on the clock, still very early stages of this first race of the triple header. Let's take this opportunity to head back down to the pits and Amanda Busick.
Hey guys, as you were talking, I happen to be next to Auto Technica, next to Tyler Stone, and we're talking about the home race, and it's a big weekend, 3 races in a row. Any hometown advantage for you, Tyler?
Well, I would hope so, but we'll have to wait and see. It's always the GT4 class this year is very, very competitive, and it's just full of a bunch of talented drivers. So I would hope I'd have a little bit of advantage, but you know, it's all based on one, experience, and 2, if we have the right setup.
Good luck today.
Yep.
Tyler's day job is with Stone & Sons Electrical, and that's the company that actually did most of the electrical work right here at this racetrack. So to say he knows this place inside and out is no exaggeration. Problems here. This is the car that had an issue on the grid. Remember, Luca Mars had to drop to the back of the pack, and now stationary in the pit lane.
Yes, unfortunate. Really impressive pair of drivers there. Always quick, but meanwhile this battle for the AM lead is heating up. Holt continues to maintain that lead, but James Clay, as I said, I think he's focused forward a little bit more than he was maybe 3 or 4 laps ago.
Holt Holt actually is on his own, isn't he? 3rd in points. He's had a couple of different teammates, Dave Ogburn and Denny Stripling. He's 23 points out of the championship lead, despite not winning a race yet this year, but has been on the podium 4 times. It's been a really strong season for the Houston, Texas native and the Texas-based fast track racing team.
And for the 36 squad of Postons and Clay, they've had 4 wins but no other podiums, so it's either win or bust for that group, but they have a slender championship lead with 125 points still on the table.
Laura Hayes, 7th in points, 79 out. They've been on the podium twice. Runner-up in both races at Sebring, but the pace they've had this year is, I would suggest, not represented in the finishing results.
No.
They've run at the front a lot.
Yeah, great potential. Had a couple of heartbreak races, so yeah, I think they could have been further up the points with a little bit of luck. But James Clay there down at the turn 5, not sure if he got in the ABS there, but he had to just keep the car straight and just narrowly missed Holt there. They ended up just turning into the corner.
Clay is the veteran in this trio. Jensen Holt made a single start a year ago. Laura Hayes in her first year in the championship. But racing right now with the 2-time champion, James Clay and Charlie Postons. They won back-to-back just a couple of years ago. Suffered through a miserable year last year. But they've been really strong once again in 2025, mounting another championship challenge. We saw Luca Mars stuck in the pit lane. I think Amanda's got an update for us.
Yeah, you'll see the hood off on this Aston Martin. There's also an Aston Martin representative actually inside the cockpit with the laptop hooked up assessing what's going on as well. I was talking to Max Hewitt off camera, told me that these issues started happening yesterday when he would get off the limiter leaving pit lane, that the car would lose power. So it sees that. Seems like those issues are continuing to today as they're assessing what's happening, but Luca Mars still with his Hamilton in this race car, so hopefully that's good news.
I think Laura Hayes needs to surprise. Yes, she does. She looks to the inside. I was going to say she's been so consistent with that outside lane going into turn 5 there. Flick it to the inside and try and surprise James a little bit.
Just need to give him something different to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. It was time to do that because she'd been kind of monotonous there with her line into that corner.
Mentioned off the top that the 07 Michael Garcia wasn't on the pre-grid. We are happy to say the car has joined the race, albeit 5 laps late. It was a fuel delivery issue, Amanda reports, with that car, and the Skip Barber Racing team has been able to get to the bottom of it and hopefully at least get this car on track, use this as a test session to help set them up for the rest of the weekend.
We assume it's fuel delivery to the engine to fire up versus waiting on a can of gas, right?
Well, that would be the implication, but I suppose it is a possibility. Michael and his brother Alex Garcia won race 2 at Sonoma earlier this year, and they were runner-up in the race we did get to run at Elkhart Lake. A tough start to their weekend here in Alabama, coming up on 15 minutes, 1/4 distance into the first of 3 races here this weekend. No change, but the battle has been really good at AM. Meanwhile, we'll check in at the front. Riley Dickinson, who has the fastest lap of the race, he now leads by 3.2 seconds. Mike David Ortman slotted in solidly in 2nd spot. Then it's Luke Hartog and Mark Miller.
Yeah, Miller looks like his car has come alive a little bit. It looked to me like he was struggling in the initial 2 to 3 laps starting this race, but now he's right there with Hartog. Seems to have pace in that Dome Motorsport AMG Mercedes.
Looking really strong, isn't he? Now, he's back with Eddie Killeen again this weekend. That has been his full season co-driver, although Eddie had to miss the VIR rounds, and they drafted in Nate Cicero, finished second a couple of times in the silver class. So that team, and certainly Mark, had a big part to play in that as well, showcasing what they're capable of right now, running at the very sharp end. Currently 4th overall and 3rd in the Pro-Am class.
Kevin Boehm here having a quiet race. Sits there in 7th overall, 4th in class. Nearest pursuer in the championship is the 68 machine that sits in 2nd in class, so be a bit of a point swing. As we said earlier, 40-point margin coming into this race weekend, the biggest margin of all 3 classes in the championships running here today.
This is what, yeah.
Just clearing the Van der Steur car, which I think has just gone back on track here. Kind of made a liar of us, and we said that cars that are quick at Road America wouldn't necessarily be quick here. Certainly Dickinson's proven us wrong with that point.
He's quick anywhere he goes.
True.
Carrera Cup champion, back in that series again this year, vying for another title in addition to this program alongside Kurt Swearingen, who's going for another championship in his own right. Of course, the reigning Pro-Am champion in Pirelli GT4 America a year ago.
Dust is flying around this racetrack a little bit of grass in the grill on Ortman there. I think Hartog may have some as well, so maybe when someone went off the road in front of them, they just collected that up.
And on a hot weekend like this, Hartog dropping wheels there to the outside as well, dragging some of that grass onto the circuit. Cooling of driver and car alike, such a crucial element when the ambient temperature is as high as it is today.
Yeah, see how tricky that turn 1 was there. Hartog looked like he attacked the corner, lost the front end momentarily, had to lift, and suddenly Miller was a lot closer to him into the brake zone for turn 2. It's kind of a blind crest there. You tip it in, and then you float the speed through, and there's a compression at the end of that corner, but it's almost too late to catch the front end of the car, so you've got to be super careful with your commitment there. Is that little bit of concrete there to use if you need it.
Good news for the Van der Steur team. It appears that car is back on pace. Luca Mars not really losing much time to Dickinson in front of him or Hartog behind him. So all the more frustrating that they had those issues. That car clearly was quick. They do have 2 more races yet this weekend.
And importantly, qualifying for both those races is tomorrow morning. So basically use this as a test session. Make sure you got it absolutely buttoned up before we go qualify for rounds 2 and 3 of this weekend. Beautiful rhythm and flow to this final sector here. See a variety of lines being used. You're always just trying to massage the car, line the car up, try and get it more efficient on corner exit.
There is such rhythm to this track. The drivers talk about the challenge. It just comes at you one corner after the next.
Yeah, it just keeps coming at you, as you said. I mean, there's no real rest there. Certainly through the back stretch. 10, 11, up to 12 and 13. Chance to relax your hands a little bit and just check everything out. But other than that, you're just constantly turning and weaving around this circuit.
The track was designed by Alan Wilson, really with motorcycles in mind. George Barber, who dreamed the place up and lends his name to the track's name, of course, is a big motorcycle enthusiast. The museum here on site, if you love your 2-wheel motorsport, I mean, it is spectacular. 1,600 vintage and modern racing motorcycles, plus a decent car collection. Most notably, it's the largest collection of Lotus race cars anywhere in the world. And it is a breathtaking collection. And the as you'd expect. The museum itself, the architecture is striking, and it's so well maintained. It's a great place to walk around. You could spend hours just getting lost in there.
I think days, because there's so much cool stuff to look at. And as you said, the architecture of the building is extraordinary as well.
As mentioned, track designer Alan Wilson. He also designed tracks like Utah Motorsports Campus, NOLA Motorsports Park, the Thermal Club, as well as a couple of street courses back in the day, Columbus and Denver. And was husband to racing driver Desiree Wilson, interestingly enough.
Co-drove with Des, the Saleen Autosport team many moons ago. Great driver, real character, great lady.
Right now, his track design certainly living up to what he dreamed it to be. Place is spectacular. Amanda's got another update for us. What are you hearing down in the pits, Amanda?
Yeah, guys, we're just under 5 minutes now from this pits opening for these driver changes and that tire change that will be allowed here today. And talking to some teams on pit lane, there are teams that'll definitely take it. There are teams that are unsure. And then in talking to the Black Dog Racing team, Michael Cooper said it's just too risky for us. No tire change for us. And when we're thinking about positioning in this race in a points battle, that might be a smart strategy, guys.
It's worth thinking about. I mean, these teams don't typically do tire changes during pit stops, live tire changes, many of them. Some of these teams are veterans of endurance racing where they are set up for it and used to it, but...
Oh, that's tight there. Laura Hayes gets a great run on Clay. It looked like he was bottled up a little bit there behind Holt. Didn't get a good run. Tony Gable's out of class, obviously, but trying to push his way forward and get Michael Cooper into a better starting spot when he takes over the reins. 36 minutes and 25 seconds to go is the earliest you can come into the pit lane. Do your mandatory, which is now 85 seconds. Pit stop and head on out.
Drivers getting ready just in case. Remember last year during one of these GT4 races, we saw the timing of the yellow and where it overlapped with the amount of time left on the race clock, and it basically split the field in half as the safety car train came around the final corner. In the front half of the field, it wasn't quite time where they could get in without sitting stationary for extra time, and it really turned the race on its head, which is why you see the drivers getting ready now. You want to be ready just in case as soon as that window opens, because you just don't know when you might have to turn your entire strategy on its head.
Yeah, I think there's been some lessons learned in terms of coming in maybe a little bit early, but sitting still and not having to do the extra lap and losing track position at the end of the day. So I think we saw that happen this year, and I think teams are certainly observant of any strategy calls. There's Georgina hanging out.
We should stress, in case you're not aware, that is a mannequin. That is not a spectator here at Barber Motorsports Park, but she is a very interested spectator. Just ask the IndyCar drivers who found out when she made an appearance on the racing surface during the race last year.
Dropped in for a chat.
Why not?
Clay totally committed through that corner there. That's turn 11. And these fast switchbacks here is really hard to follow car this closely. You're just kind of letting them lead you through. All these drivers doing an excellent job. Really been tied together here for this full race.
Yeah, but to see how close the cars can run together, this is what makes the GT4 product so good. As Hayes looks to the inside, that is a late lunge. He's done this a couple of times. Is able to get to the door of James Clay, but can't stay alongside. James able to keep his momentum up around the outside.
Yeah, I mean, her car looks really good, and she's doing a great job with it as well. It's all about combination of driver and car setup here, but looks like she's got a car that could maybe take off a little bit if she could get out front here, but James is doing a great job, masterful display here of defending. I think if she was a bit more aggressive and willing to maybe trade paint a little bit, she could force the issue down through that corner, but she's keeping it nice and clean.
Very respectful as well of the championship leader. This has been really good, though, between the three BMWs. 3 different prep shops, it's worth noting. Fast Track, Bimmer World, and Thunder Bunny.
Inside the window now where you can make that pit stop, be stationary for the 85 seconds would be good with not exceeding 35-minute maximum drive time here today. So let's see if anyone, oh, that was close. Clay, that's not good news for our championship leader. He's probably going to get dinged for that one in terms of incident responsibility. Been running so close together, and this is right at the point. Is that car going to be stationary? Can Holt get going again? Didn't look like a big hit. He should be able to move that race car. Who dies for pit lane?
Yeah, exactly. Laura Hayes does immediately. Tony Gaples follows her in. Now, is this car in a safe place? Do we have to go immediately full course yellow? This is interesting. JMF immediately reacting, covering in case of a full course yellow. Mike David Ortman turning his car over to Braden Arthur. Car's still stuck right now. The safety vehicle is, or the medical vehicle is there. Maybe it's able to continue. Didn't look like much contact, Calvin, but huge consequences.
Yeah, we just said how difficult it is to follow those cars so close together through those far switchbacks. I'm not sure if Holt just lifted and James had a run on him. Let's take another look at it here. Yeah, I mean, you know, if Holt just didn't have the car lined up correctly, couldn't roll the same apex speed. I mean, it's hard to increase your speed. You're flying in there. It's not like you just suddenly just bully your way through. So I'd say it's more likely that Holt arrested his speed a little bit and just caught James out.
Yeah, I don't think he can get that car back. Left front suspension very much askew. Race control does like to try and give everyone an opportunity to make their pit stop.
It's so close with the minimum stop time to being what a lap is here. So you almost go down a lap with an 85-second minimum stop time.
Yeah, that's true.
Best lap of the day so far is a 129.8, so.
Haven't seen tire changes. We mentioned that is a possibility. Now it's full course yellow. I think we've got one more look at the incident that brought out the full course yellow, but we're going to have a lot to sift through. Top three cars have not pitted.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, James had a head of steam. I think he had his hands open early trying to just get that run up into the next little chicane there.
That was a long slide for Justin Holt, too.
Much. You're so loaded up through there. Just big commitment there from Clay.
I'm concerned, though. Well, I guess it does matter. It's a really good point you make. It's a short lap here, and it's a longer pit stop due to this rule change.
Well,
so
unless you were within about 10 seconds of the leader, you're going to go down a lap.
Right. So that actually might save
some of the teams that didn't pit.
Well, there's just the three, aren't there? Dickinson, Hartog, Miller owe the pit stop. And we just need to see where everybody comes out in the train.
The key is, where is the safety car?
Right.
They caught the leaders yet and arrested their speed. That's the problem if you miss it. And then suddenly when you're trying to get to pit lane, you're losing time, whereas everyone else is able to catch back up. By the time you come out, you've lost that track position. This is going to be the big one. What do they do with that incident there with Clay and Holt?
Well, right now, they were able to get their pit service done and got out in front of the Thunder Bunny car. So, at least for the moment, they were able to retain that track position. Poston's ahead of Patton. That's the fast track team. And it looks like that car will not be taking further part. Wow, that is really too bad. That is a team that's had a good run this season. As mentioned, 4 podiums for Judson, who was only 23 points out of the championship lead in the AM class and leading. So set to take a nice chunk out of that. Yeah,
it's a weird one, right? Very rarely do you get run over on the exit of a corner, essentially. So just Clay had that run through there, and I think he had a really good line. And just he was trying to take advantage of that, and he'd opened up his hands. He was going to use some of that curb, and suddenly Holt was maybe a little more circumspect going through that corner.
James Clay is out of the car. Charlie Postons is in. Let's get a first-hand account of what took place. Amanda Busick, let's hear from James.
James, I know you're still kind of coming down from the stint. We just took a look at what happened with the incident, and the guys in the booth were kind of giving their opinion on it. From your driver's seat, what happened?
Well, super unfortunate, and it sucks because I'm super aware that the people around me were all championship contenders, and I was racing as such and had plenty of opportunities before, but I was pretty focused on doing something clean. I don't know if they had something wrong with that car. I saw it balk or do something on straights, maybe with gear shifts a couple of times. But when we went through the kink that time, and that was my place because I had the drive out of museum. I had the run, was behind, and just tucked up super tight, and then all of a sudden at that apex of that right-hander, the car's at full load, full grip. He either checked off the throttle or tapped the brakes, and as tight as I was, I had nowhere to go on that, and apologize for the contact. I feel like I had the right to absolutely be on his bumper, clearly not in his bumper, but we're at the limit of grip, and unfortunately, that's how it fell today.
Thank you, James.
Thank you.
That's how I read it. I mean, if I was James, I'm not sure if it's allowed. I'd be hopping up to race control before they make a decision, maybe give my version of this. So you can see the line there. It's like Hall's not going to use all of the road, and typically you are. So, again, we don't know if he had a technical issue or he just didn't get through the corner cleanly. Very rarely do you run over someone on the exit. It's more on the entry to a corner.
Sure. Yeah, really strange situation. But we'll have to wait and see how that is adjudicated. All right, let's look and see at how this yellow has affected things. It would appear to me, are the top three on a lap of their own? I think they are, interestingly enough. So you're spot on, Cal. The length of the lap, relatively short, and the length of the pit stop elongated this weekend because of the opportunity to change tires, has inverted what we normally see, where an early pit stop covers for a full course yellow. ACI has played this really well along with Dome. Those three cars are alone on a lap of their own, or are they? Well, sort of. I think, are they at the tail of the... all right, maybe you could explain this better than I can. We've had a pass around going on. But they have 50 seconds over the next group of cars that have pitted.
Yeah, so essentially you got them stuck behind the safety car right now. There's a bunch of cars that are a lap down to them, but there are also cars that are on the same lap, and they've got the ability to now compress this. So by the time the three leaders come on pit lane, they're going to lose that track position. They won't go all the way to the back of the field, but they'll be somewhere midway.
Now, definitely a strange set of circumstances, just with, again, the nature of the track here.
I think they'll probably drop from, let's have a look here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe to 7th, I would say, the way it's looking. So they elect to come in right now.
Yeah.
There's your top three. Gonzalez should assume the lead of this race, so obviously Wagner got in.
Now,
the cars that are now behind the safety car, I think, should get a wave by to pick up the new leader, which would be Gonzalez.
yes. Now, the good news, I suppose, for the three that are pitting, right, is that the cars that are coming through, Gonzalez, Cook, Arthur, Neudorf, Deschelski, etc., those are all silver cars. So you're really looking at Josh Green as the leader of the group in Pro-Am that have pitted. Let's watch as ACI comes in, see if they elect to do the tire change or not.
The problem for Josh Green, I think he's stuck behind the pace car.
I think so too.
So he needs to be released to be able to get around, get back on the lap that the drivers who are in pit lane now are on, and get by them before they get released from their pit lane, and that's not happening.
That's not happening yet, no. Yeah, so that's why this, I think, still will work well. Not in the overall.
Yeah,
but
the overall
in the
they
class.
lost a ton, but in the class, Josh Green has got stymied here by being the first car behind the safety car.
The advantage he will have eventually, though, that is a pro in a Pro-Am car. The other three started their pros. So, you know, the cars he'll be trying to catch, he should have a pace advantage on. Swearingen in, Dan Seville in, Eddie Killeen should be in the 37 that Mark Miller started.
Yeah, the problem for Green is because he wasn't released, he's still a lap down at this point.
Yeah, final wave-by procedure is about to take place.
Yeah.
It hasn't yet, so.
He needed that to happen almost immediately, then speed his way around and get past pit exit before the others had sufficed their 85-second stop. It's complicated to verbalize without
a visual aid?
Yes.
Yeah, we need a telestrator or something like that, but the thing you need
a piece of bodywork there on the track.
Yeah. Well, what you need to know effectively, though, is the 3 cars that stayed out might have lost overall track position, but will still run 1, 2, 3 in their class. That's how they will restart now that the final wave-by is taking place. Is this what you saw?
Yeah. Not really bodywork, it's just...
Is that some tape?
I'm not sure if a car has been in and they put those big pieces of like bear bond on them, maybe that's just come off or something.
Well, while we're still under our full course yellow procedure, let's get an update once more from Amanda in the pits.
Yeah, just a couple updates on tire strategy down here. As we were talking at the top of the show that some teams were unsure of what they were going to do. A couple teams decided no on tires. That would be JMF Motorsports, Black Dog Racing, Thunder Bunny Racing. Those BMWs, most of them took the left fronts. Auto Technica decided not to, and then the Rafa Racing team, they changed the right front tire. And then Calvin, to update you on James Clay, I did see him walk down pit lane and apologize to the team of incident as on his way to race control.
Cool. Well, he's just got to sit and wait. Sometimes you don't get that penalty come up on our screens until we're back to full green flag racing.
Did get a notice that it is under review.
Okay.
I was just checking on that.
Tough one. I mean, you're so committed when you're running nose to tail like this. This is not ideal at all.
Had to get to that piece of debris that you spotted, but yeah, there were cars still coming around on the wave around, and that's where you need your team to let you know there are safety vehicles on the track. Well, I think we're just about through the procedure, so let's look at this reshuffled order here. 23 minutes to go. Restart imminent. Lights are off on the safety car. Tyler Gonzalez is in the overall lead of the race, but he's going to have some lap traffic behind him. The safety car has picked up the first class leader, which is Charlie Poston's, I believe, in the AM class leading car. Is that how you're reading this as well?
Yeah.
And so, although a lap down to the overall leader, it is the first class leader with the way that the wave-bys have worked around, and so it will be Charlie with that review that is hanging over that car for the incident that led to this full course yellow. That leads us to the restart, I believe. And here we go. Green flag waves once again. It's a bit of a disjointed restart. Poston's under pressure immediately. Alan Patton looking to go on the attack. And here comes Michael Cooper as well, who's been trapped a lap down. He'll need to get by everybody here and then hope for a yellow to bring him back into the mix. But unfortunately, Tony Gaples was trapped behind the first class leader, or Michael was once he got in the car, and so he was unable to get back on the lead lap in Pro-Am. Wow, Poston's super defensive down into 5.
Yeah, look at Michael Cooper here. He's going to take advantage here and clear at least one of those cars. Now he tries to get alongside Poston's here on the run up to turn 8. Charlie's probably going to let him go.
It's not his fight. Michael really aggressive, though, working to roll the outside. This is a part of the track you don't usually make it 2x2. This, by the way, is the overall leader of the race. Tyler Gonzalez, remember, in the championship fight, but trailing Kevin Boehm and Kenton Cook, who now run second, so in a position to at least make some headway in the points battle.
Yeah, and there's a big swing of 7 points between first and second. That really cut into that 40-point margin, but you know Kenton Cook's going to go on the attack once he gets to the tail end of that Supra. So really complicated little battle here. We're still waiting to hear on the penalty review for this 36 car with that incident. There you see Michael Cooper now up ahead. Look at Patton down to the inside on Postons, and he turns him. Disaster for the championship leader. He may continue. I'm not sure how much damage was created with that bump. Now he's going to have to wait for the majority of this field. He's in the worst possible spot to try and get back out onto the racetrack. Wow. Turned the wrong way when he eventually came to a stop.
Well,
up front, look at this.
Yeah, we've got some mixed class action going on here. I think that's Darius Trinka, who's stuck a lap down in the green and white Random Vandals car, letting the sister car through that's fighting for the overall win of the race. With Kenton Cook behind the wheel, the overall leader just came through. Tyler Gonzalez in the black and orange Supra with the blue mirrors. Now Matheus Leist also on a bit of a charge here. Now that car is quite a bit down the order also.
Yeah, they're a lap down, so he's well out of position, obviously, but he's a very complicated scenario here with when you get that yellow happening within, it's not really a window, but within the minimum stop time where everyone's trying to get around. It really throws a spanner in the works. Definitely.
Race Vision powered by AWS Circuit Performance. Look at that, 3 different cars with the best sector times. McLaren, Aston, and Porsche. Showcasing the strengths of the various packages here. Whoa, little touch there. Kenton Cook not wanting to be patient with Kenny Schmid, who's a championship contender in the AM class, and right now playing rear gunner for another Toyota Supra team a little bit and keeping Kenton Cook in check.
He is, that's a great point. Kenton's trying to work him over, but Schmid definitely went on the defensive there down the front straightaway to deter Kenton. He tries to make the high line work around the outside. He's going to just punching that gas pedal, getting on the power early here, up and over turn 4. You got to feel that Kenton's going to try and make a bold move here down to the inside. Here he comes.
Looking to the inside of Schmid, and this time I think he will make the pass stick. I should rephrase that. Schmid is actually a sister car, team car, to Tyler Gonzalez, the race leader. So had plenty of reason to try and not make it easy, let's say, on Kenton Cook, and it looks like mission accomplished there. Now he's relinquished that position. Now he settles back in line. Might have got a tap from the rear from Matheus Leist in the Nola Sport Porsche as well.
And Braden Arthur there is in that mix as well, the number 4 car from JMF. Talk about them going on a tear, winning a couple of races at Road America, won the TC race this morning. They got 2 cars very much in the hunt, running 3rd and 4th right now.
That Leist car, by the way, owes a drive-through penalty for a pit lane speed violation. Don't have a ruling yet on the incident that brought out the yellow. We do have word that the incident between the 36 and the 606, so that was Patton and Postons, that ended with Postons spun around. That too is under review. With 17 minutes, 46 seconds left on the clock, this race very much still hangs in the balance. A lot of loose ends that need to be tied back together.
Here's the drive-through for Leist. We saw the 2 JMF cars duking out down the front straightaway with Neudorf fresh off that victory. You see a car off and on back through turn 1.
Yeah, that's Schmid again, who sits 3rd in the AM class.
Yeah, and it could be better because Patton, remember, leads the AM class, and he's got an incident under review right now as well.
Yeah, it really depends on the severity of the penalty because Trinka and Schmid both are a lap behind Patton. They were split by that full course yellow. So the leader, Gonzalez, has caught some more traffic.
I think he got around the outside there as they just disappeared. Yes, he did. So that's important for him. He's got another car between him and the chasing Kenton Cook. Whoa, that was a big moment.
Yep.
Wow, just ate too much of that curb there. That was a wild ride.
That is Alan Patton. Car started by Laura Hayes, leader right now in the M class, but with an incident currently under review. How easy will he make this on a fellow BMW driver, Kenton Cook, as he tries to challenge for the lead of the race?
Yeah. Patton looked like he's on a rodeo ride around here.
Kenton looking to the inside, Patton not having any of it. That is great news for Gonzalez, whose lead now has grown. It was 1.1 seconds. It's now 1.4.
This is huge. They had to beat the 97 car. You just got to eat into that lead. They're so consistent. Kenton Cook, Kevin Bone, 5 wins plus 2 podiums on the season. That's the trouble. It's hard to beat, but every single weekend counts right now. Every single race, 5 races to go, including this one.
Here comes Kenton this time. Won't be easily denied, although he got in pretty deep, didn't he? That opens the door for Patton to come back to the inside. They'll stay door to door. How much is Alan Patton willing to fight this with the second-placed overall car out of a different class?
Yeah, I think Kenton's just going to have the line there. Nothing he can do now to get back. Patton, that is on Kenton Cook. So nice to move there by Kenton. And if you think about it, I mean, there's going to be so many shuffles in this championship. 40-point lead, 5 races, 7-point swing. That's 35 points. So if Kenton and Kevin Bron finish second in every race going forward, they would win the championship. But I don't think that's going to happen.
No. Here is Patton, and one of the reasons he was fighting so hard is Darius Trinka behind him. This is for position. This is for the lead in the AM class, actually. That's what we're watching right here. Patton in the black and orange car, and Trinka just behind. Mid-season call-up for Random Vandals alongside Paul Sparta. Doing really a nice job. He was super quick at Road America in practice and qualifying as well.
Yeah, he's the real deal. Paul Sparta's had a tough season. Just said the season, I spoke to him this morning, he said the season just hasn't gone to plan. We just can't really catch a break, and it seems the more we chase it, the worse we do. So right now they're in prime spot here. I think he's got the speed, and we're still waiting on the penalty, what comes through now.
Yeah, drive-through coming for the 606, the class leader, Alan Patton, for incident responsibility. Interestingly, we also just saw Kenny Schmid come into the pits and is shown still in the pit lane. Oh, that's why. This is, again, a championship contender in AM. It's all falling apart for those that are vying for a title.
That is crazy. That is crazy. So Trinka should assume the lead. Postons is still out there, and importantly, I would say that maybe, I mean, it's not like no responsibility being called on that 36 moment with Clay and Holt. And that was up for debate a lot earlier than the one we're seeing with the 606 has been determined to have incident responsibility. So maybe Clay got away with it.
Let's take a look at a replay here. Oh man, that might be what the problem was for Kenny Schmid. I think it did dislodge the exhaust going off track up and over the curb.
Here comes Patton down pit lane. That'll move Trinka to the lead for Random Vandals.
Oh, and problems for Braden Arthur. He's got loose body work as well on the number 4 that sits 3rd in silver right now and is challenging. Make that sits, or is that for Newdorf? I'm sorry. No, it is for Arthur.
Yeah. Crazy thing is, even though he didn't partake in the race at Road America, he scored 4th place points there. Kind of tied at the hip because he'd qualified the car. He was sick and wasn't able to make the race. His teammate won the race solo despite having to sit in pit lane 5 extra seconds. That's the rules if you run 1 driver versus 2. But the regulations also mean that this man here got the victory even though he didn't participate in the race. A little bit crazy.
Yeah, it's a strange one. Eddie Colleen with a problem here. This is the car Mark Miller had started. Has dropped well down the order now to, looks like, 6th in Pro-Am. That's allowed several cars to come on through. I wonder with that Braden Arthur car with that damage, if that's not something that could result in a mechanical black flag. There's the spin for Colleen.
That's a tricky corner. You're coming up there, the car's kind of got a lot of yaw in it, and you're just trying to slow it down and tuck it back into the apex. Really, really tricky. The car feels like it's up on the toes, on its toes all of the time.
All right, down to 11 minutes to go. Tyler Gonzalez leads Kenton Cook. Then we get to this battle here. Braden Arthur in the first of the 2 JMF Astons leads his teammate Jonathan Newdorf, who sits 4th in the Porsche of Danny Deshelski. That's the top 5 overall. Supra right there is out of position. Or is it? No,
Sully Hauger's running in 6th.
Yep. Yep, and Hannah Grisham chasing as well. So Top 7 all out of the silver class, and here comes Matt Siljehaug looking to the inside, trying to put the challenge on for the 5th spot. Niszczelski's got his hands full here up against the Norwegian. Penalty has just been issued to the 36.
Wow.
Charlie Postins will have to serve a drive-through penalty, incident responsibility.
He obviously looked at it a long time before coming up with that determination.
Oh, and the 606, Alan Patton, that just did a drive-through. He's got another one coming, pit speed violation.
That is tough. That is the ultimate salt in the wound.
It was a very promising day for Thunder Bunny. Has gone up in smoke. This will be costly as well for Postins, who remarkably is...
Well, the crazy thing is, though, they're on their own lap, so they may be able to serve this drive-through penalty and come back out still in 2nd and 3rd in class, crazily enough.
Wow. Well, that goes to show what a strange race this has been. At the front, though, it's starting to heat up a little bit once again. Tyler Gonzalez and Kenton Cook. It was up nearly 1.5 seconds. It's down to 1 second now with 10 minutes to go. And think about what's at stake here.
Big
If they
swing.
finish in this order, the lead would go from 40 to 33 in points. But should it swap hands, it would go from 40 to 47. So it's effectively a 14-point swing if this position should change hands.
Yeah, that is massive, but the two leaders just ran lap times only 100 of a second apart. So yes, Kenton has certainly made some ground over the last 2 or 3 laps, but Gonzalez still has speed in that race car up front.
Kenton Cook within a second, though, continues to get closer. Those were the drive-through penalties that were just served. Postins and Patton.
Yeah, and I think they're going to maintain 2nd and 3rd. Because Schmid is a lap down on these cars, so that's wild. Serve a drive-through penalty and keep the same position.
Doesn't happen much. That lets us finally focus in on this battle. Kenton Cook found another couple of tenths in the middle of this lap. What's the gap now? 0.6 of a second. Braden Arthur from 3rd place is called to the pits with presumably the damage on the right front that's causing this unscheduled trip down pit lane.
That's unfortunate. This team's been on a roll. His teammate was they're both very much in this championship. As we said, they both got points, even though Arthur did not drive the car at Road America to that victory. So there's that beer bond we were talking about, potentially what that piece of debris that we saw on the racetrack.
And it's not really sticking.
That's tough when it's all greasy. You got the brake dust back there and everything. Really, you need to get some brake cleaner on it, give it a quick wipe with some rag.
Well, a really strong day undone by that damage for Braden Arthur, who has dropped outside of the top 10 overall and down to the bottom of the class in silver, having been in position to stand on the podium.
It's a good little battle here for 3rd in that silver class. Niszczelski pushing Nudorf, Siljehaug's right there as well. Mad Dog, as we like to call him. Great to see Marco Polo Motorsport back in our paddock on a full-time basis.
Yeah, it is. They've gone through a few changes since the start of the season. In terms of the structure of the team, which we can talk about in a moment, but go back to several years ago with the KTM, and Siljehaug and Elganian were such a good pairing and really punched above their weight, I think, a number of times.
Yeah, they did, as a quite a unique race car, but they certainly made it sing, that is for sure. And it's great fun. Just a really cool combination of drivers and team and car. Car that had tremendous cornering speed. Didn't always have great straight line speed, but boy, could that rip around a corner, that KTM.
Definitely. Chicago Performance Tuning Company that's now providing some of the backbone of the Marco Polo Motorsports operation. That switch happened prior to the VIR round that was announced back in June. And they've been strong this year. Again, maybe the results don't totally tell the whole story for them, but they've had good pace, had some strategy go awry at various times, but certainly a team to keep an eye on as they get more and more comfortable with this Toyota Super package.
Just to put it in perspective, this battle for third that we're focused on right now is sitting about 9 seconds back of the lead pair. Last time across the stripe, Gonzalez was actually half a second quicker than Kenton Cook, so that gap up front is now up to about a second.
Really sketchy stuff as the Silver Class frontrunners put a lap on Eddie Colleen. Tough part of their track to go side by side. There's certain sections here where it takes some bravery, even if there is a speed disparity, to try and make a pass. But they were able to coexist there. Kenton Cook answers back, chops off a couple tenths, and a really good first sector. But
yes,
does he have anything to actually challenge, to get alongside and try and take this lead away?
Well, you have two of the very best duking it out here for the overall and the Silver Class win, of course, here in Tyler Gonzalez and Kenton Cook. Kenton's just been on such a roll this year. His victory stats are in the double digits for 2025 across multiple championships that he's in.
Yeah, busy guy, racing Pirelli GT4 America as well as GT World Challenge America. Also has a program at IMSA. Problems again for Patton, who's been off and on. He joins the circuit. Let me think. So he's driven the GT4, Kenton Cook that is, the GT4 BMW. He's driven the GT3 BMW and then GT3 Ferrari and Mercedes all this year.
And BMW.
Yes, I think I said that,
Oh,
but
did you? Sorry.
Just for the sake of clarity, it's
Yep.
worth mentioning that, yeah, he's in that car for Random Vandals in GT World Challenge America, and fast in all of them.
Yep, doesn't matter. Boy can pedal it.
It's been a bit of a wild race for Thunder Bunny. This was the ride most recently for Alan Patton, and if he got away with this, he needs to go buy a lottery ticket.
He did. Sometimes when you have a moment like that, you're not exactly sure where all the barriers and the fences are, whether you're going to hit something hard or whether you're going to get away with it. But that was another moment, but he's still in a podium spot, crazily enough.
Wow, very
Look at this.
crazy.
Kenton is closer than he's ever been. Tyler Gonzalez is going to have to work hard for this one with under 4 minutes to go.
If there is a critique of this track, you often hear drivers say it's a really fun place to drive, tough place to race. Where can you make the pass stick, though, Cal?
Well, for Kenton, it's all about exit from one of these corners leading onto the straightaways, but I don't think he's got enough. I mean, turn 5 is really the prime spot. That is the only spot where there's multiple options, whether you go the long way around or you send it down the inside. Gresham there looked a little bit wide, but it looked like he actually gapped Kenton by a couple of feet there. Can Kenton get crafty through this final sector? This is where there's multiple lines. You could really do something a little bit out of the ordinary and just send it. So he's cutting the high line here. He comes down here. Does he like send it down to the inside? There he looks at it. Not quite close enough. But that's where it's really hard to defend there in turn 17, because the problem is if you defend it, you're then really slow on this front stretch. Then you're vulnerable here into turn 1.
Kenton Cook looming large, massive battle in the Silver Class Championship. As it runs, it would be the first 60-minute race win for Tyler Gonzalez and Gresham Wagner this year. They won the Enduro at Circuit of the Americas all the way back at the beginning of the season.
Watch here, he's going to look to the inside. He sends it down to the inside. Beautiful move by Kenton Cook. Then just holds station, just sends him out there. Nowhere to go with it. That was superb stuff by Kenton Cook. Top
Gonzalez
shelf.
will try to fight back. Kenton Cook knows it, guards the inside jealously. Gonzalez looks to the outside but can't get alongside the BMW. And with that maneuver, the championship perspective has swung by 14 points instead of, as they were running, being 33 points back. Tyler Gonzalez and Gresham Wagner now find themselves at a 47-point deficit.
This is wild stuff. We're going to be looking at, white flag next time by. So Gresham Wagner, he's got 2 opportunities here into that final corner. Let's see what he tries to do. Kenton's got to be on his toes here to defend. There is some traffic up ahead what they may get to. Gresham, Tyler looks to the inside. There's a touch. There's smoke coming off the bodywork there.
Desperation starting to sink in for Tyler Gonzalez, who has fallen back to second with just 1 lap to go. Traffic looms up the road. That's Dan Seville for ACI Motorsports. Kenton Cook, though, with a buffer, having taken the lead on the previous lap.
Now he's just got his head down. He's just trying to gap Tyler here through turn 2, so he's not vulnerable into that brake zone like the move that he made on Tyler just 1 lap ago.
At Porsche lap traffic, how will it affect this battle for the lead of the race? Gonzalez will hope it opens the door for an opportunity. Instead, it opens the door to let the leaders come through. That was pretty clean for both of the front runners, Kenton Cook and Tyler Gonzalez. That will not give Tyler the chance to come back.
That is Kenton Cook at his best, making a move on that young charger, Tyler Gonzalez. That is huge stuff and a pivotal move in this championship.
Extending the points lead, and now half a lap away from yet another race win. What a season Kenton Cook and Kevin Boehm are putting together for the Random Vandals squad. Back in front yet again, looking to get back to victory lane for the first time since the second race of the VIR weekend. Kenton Cook, through the final sequence of corners, can see the checkered flag and is that much closer to putting one hand on the trophy. Kenton Cook and Kevin Boehm, for the 6th time this season, take victory in Pirelli GT4 America with a late race pass for the lead to grab the victory from Tyler Gonzalez.
Wow, what a move.
Darius Trinka comes across the line in the sister car. He and Paul Sparta take a surprise win in the AM class, and what a weekend it's shaping up to be for the Vandals. 2 wins here in the first race of a triple-header weekend, and for ACI Motorsports, how about it? Kurt Swearingen and Riley Dickinson, it took them until Road America to get their first win of the season. They now are back-to-back race winners, and they're in the championship conversation too.
Yeah, that was a wild one. It was debatable whether they're going to get stuck with that safety car coming out and the timing of that, but just with the shortness of this lap and how long you had to be stationary, it almost caught them out, but they came out still with the class lead, admittedly. Lost the overall lead, but that doesn't matter to them, just thinking points in the big picture.
How about this for Random Vandals? Wins in Silver and M, P2 in Pro-Am. Josh Green came across the line in 8th overall, 2nd in class. Charlie Postins, inexplicably,
you could write a book on that race for those guys.
That is wild.
Clay gets into halt, turns him, eventually gets the penalty. Charlie gets turned and still finished 2nd.
They will be hoping for a more straightforward pair of races to finish out this weekend at Barber Motorsports Park, but that one had a little bit of everything. A grid that was set from a qualifying session at a totally different racetrack. A yellow that came at perhaps the most inopportune time in terms of trying to make the strategy cut and dry. Plenty of contact, penalties left and right, and yet still it's a 2nd place finish for the Bimmer World pairing as they go for their 3rd title in 4 years. Gotta feel good for Kurt Swearingen as well, don't you? Again, a champion a year ago, had a good start to the season, but not a great one. I think it was a bit of a surprise that it took that long to get their first win, but now 2 straight, and they are riding the wave of momentum going into the final 4 races of the campaign. Here's a look at the provisional race results. What a move from Kenton Cook on Tyler Gonzalez to take the lead on the penultimate lap. 0.8 of a second, the margin of victory, but the impact of the championship much greater than that. Neudorf and Webb finish in 3rd. Neudorf's got to hustle. He's got a TC race coming up in just a few minutes' time. He's already a race winner in TC America earlier today. Pro-Am win to Dickinson and Swearingen ahead of Green and Craven. McQuarrie and Walker, quiet race, didn't call their names much, but a solid run to the podium there ahead of Matt Millian and hometown hero Tyler Stone. In the AM class, Darius Trinka, Paul Sparta get their first win of the season. Welcome to GT4 America to Darius Trinka, just his second race in the championship. Poston, Sinclair second, Patton and Hayes take home third. Missed opportunity for Gerasi and Schmid to capitalize on the misfortune of their rivals. They had misfortune of their own and finished down at fourth, lost ground in the title chase. There's the man of the hour, though. Kenton Cook is out of his BMW, and he'll have plenty to celebrate for the 6th time this year. He and Kevin Boehm have taken victory. It's been a really strong year for that pairing. Felt like they learned a lot last year and came loaded for bear in 2025.
They did. Textbook move by Kenton, just really set out perfectly through turn 2 and just pounced immediately. I'm sure Tyler Gonzalez will be thinking I should have got more defensive on that run down into turn 5, but he's got a night to think about it before we go back racing again.
For Paul Sparta, he has not been on the podium since the second race at Sonoma. That was all the way back in March. Breaks through, new co-driver, just their second race together, and they get the big win here in the first of 3 this weekend. That is a well-earned result. And again, Darius Trinka might not be a household name, but when we've seen him pop up in Lamborghini Super Trofeo or Porsche Sprint Challenge, whatever the case may be, he's always quick. He's been super impressive in his limited time in this series as well. Let's go down to Victory Lane in Amanda Busick.
A big celebration down here for Random Vandals, and actually Greg Gill and I were going over who might be the hard charger here today in this award, and it might be between you guys or with Paul Sparta as we look over the finishing. But you said your stint was just brutal out there and hot. What did it take to stay in the race?
Honestly, it was just a lot of patience. Like this is really the hottest we've seen the track, and we just had to manage the tire. We had to manage the car, and I couldn't look at the lap timer because the lap times weren't giving me what I wanted, but I just had to drive what the car would give me and try to just stay in touch with the guys in front of me, because you never know what's going to happen during the pits exchanges. You never know what's going to happen with yellows, and today just staying in touch is what really, I think, gave him the car in the right place to be able to do something with it at the end. And man, this guy, he's amazing.
Based on the points implications, an additional 7 points into the bucket against you guys, against the Rafa Racing team that's trying to chase you guys down. How did you just break it down on your attack on Tyler?
Well, I mean, yeah, it started from the beginning with Kevin putting in a good stint there. Pressures, and I mean, yeah, it's the hottest it's been all week, so we overshot a little bit on those, but when we came in, they bled them down. The car felt pretty good after that at the end, and then it was just all about trying to put the work in to try to catch Tyler at the end, and we had just a little bit more there on the long run for him, and yeah, felt good to get it done. I was surprised he didn't defend going into 5 because we were really strong on the brakes there, but yeah, we ran pretty clean there. It's tight racing. I mean, that's kind of how it goes here, but yeah, I always had good battles with Tyler, and it's been a fun championship battle this year, and hopefully we can get it done before the end of the weekend to clinch it, but you know, we'll take it one race at a time. Thank you.
2 more chances.
Yes, sir.
Great to hear from them. And again, they came from 6th on the grid in class to win as well, 6th out of 7. So really remarkable results for the team as they get that much closer to taking home the Silver Class Championship in 2025. That's the first of 3 GT4 America races here this weekend. We hope you join us for the remaining 2 of our triple header here at Barber Motorsports Park.